The Democratic Party will hold a presidential primary debate on Thursday, December 19th. It's the sixth of 12 Democratic primary debates scheduled for the 2020 presidential election. Joining us now via phone to tell us more details about the presidential election and is the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, Michael Blake. And Mike, good to have you.
Always good to be with you, Darren. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, doing good. First of all, before we talk about the debates, let's get right into the impeachment proceedings. It looks like President Donald Trump will be impeached. Your thoughts on the impeachment situation?
I mean, the reality is that the president put himself and his campaign over the country, plain and simple, and that he nor the Republicans can objectively deny the facts. They aggressively were trying to start an investigation and withhold aid, have an investigation started and withhold aid for the benefit of his own campaign, and that's unacceptable. And the simple matter of this, when people are wondering, well, why should I care as a Bronxite, as a New Yorker? If the President of the United States is willing to deny aid in exchange for helping himself, what else then will he do as it relates to the impact of our lives, whether it be housing or health care or jobs or education? And that cannot continue. And so the obstruction of Congress has clearly been obvious. The blatant rejecting of having his staff and others who could have clarified everything quickly come forward. And there is a clear abuse of power. And so for the third time in our history, a president will be impeached. And this is just the next step of the process. For people to be understanding, this will now go to the Senate. The Senate will serve as the jurors. That will be beginning in early January 2020 as we move forward from here.
Yeah, and of course we'll take a look. We'll talk a little bit more about the Senate in the time to come. I want to go to tomorrow. How do you think this is going to affect tomorrow's debate? A lot still remains on the table. And honestly, if Democrats are really going to have a shot at beating President Trump in 2020, it's got to be more than an anti-Trump message, correct?
Well, we have to be very clear of not just saying Trump is bad, but you have to say why Democrats are good over and over again. Why are Democrats fighting for health care, fighting for labor rights, fighting for schools, fighting for education, fighting for immigration? Not just Trump is bad. And so the debate on Thursday will be another opportunity to demonstrate that. And the 7 candidates on stage will have that opportunity to share their vision for the country of not just why you're the best Democrat, and not just why you should defeat Donald Trump and be elected. How are you going to unite the country and move us forward and conveying that strategy? Now, Darren, it's important for us to communicate to everyone that in order to get on the debate stage, you had to have 800,000 donors across 20 different states because we wanted to have people demonstrate they have grassroots support, as well as 4% in 4 different polls or 6% in 2 polls. And the reasoning behind those numbers, in previous history, there has not been a nominee of our party who has not been at that percentage point at this point in the election process. Now, you'll have other candidates say there are more people in the race, it's a different race, it's a different field. We understand that, we hear that. It's the reason why at the DNC we have 4 upcoming debates in January and February in the early states. Those thresholds have not been determined as of yet. But no one was blocked out from the debate at all. No one was denied the opportunity. Case in point, you heard a lot of conversation around diversity, as there should be those conversations. Senator Harris actually qualified for this debate before she made her decision to not continue with her campaign. It had nothing to do with the debate threshold. And so, yes, we need to have diversity on the stage. We need to have inclusion represented. We need to have our voices there. But the bigger point right now is we have to make sure that we are united to defeat Donald Trump. If you are a Bronxite, as we all are, and we appreciate the magnitude of the moment of what we are facing from public housing to public education to public schools, et cetera, then we need someone who's going to be our voice. And we are confident because of polling and because of the energy that Democrats are going to emerge victorious in 2020 up and down the ballot.
What can you take from the previous debates that I had? I mean, obviously a lot of fire has gone forth, but there's still some things that need to be laid out on the table. When you look at the upcoming debates, what do you think you have to basically hit home and convey to people in this season?
Well, I think we have to convey the practical impact, right? Trump's message is going to be the economy is strong and the unemployment is low. But what I would ask you, all Bronxite, do you feel secure? Do you feel that you're spending so much on rent that you're unable to save? Do you feel like your wages have not gone up? Do you feel like you're still battling when it comes to paying off student loans and debt? Do you feel like you don't have the chance to live out your dream? And if you feel that economic insecurity and inequality, then it doesn't matter what Trump is saying in terms of a high glossing stat and data point. It means that there have to be more changes. So the responsibility for all of us is to communicate that what they're going to say on the other side is, don't worry about the Trump and Republican racism, sexism, discrimination, attacks on people with disabilities, attacks against the LGBT community. That's what they're saying. Don't ignore all of that because you have a job. No, this is a both and. There has to be respect and dignity. And we have values of uniting all of us. As Democrats, we are fighting for everyone while the Republicans are fighting for the top 1%. And so whether it be on April 28th of next year when we have our presidential primary, it's important that anyone who's a Bronxite who has interest in being a presidential delegate, that actual process begins at the end of December. So please contact the local Democratic Party as well as other electeds so you can find out information about that. Whether it be the June 23rd election, where myself, who's running for Congress, and others that are running for Congress, state Senate and state assemblies on the ballot, and then especially in November for the general election, we all have to show up and be engaged, everybody, because there's too much at stake for us to sit on the sideline with this election. If we can be helpful, Blake for Congress.nyc, we can share that information with you so that you can be involved and get engaged. But we have to make sure we tell the story. We believe in the Bronx. We believe in Bronxite, and we're not going to be silent in the face of Trump and the Republican obstruction.
All righty. Assemblyman Michael Blake, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. Of course, as we said, Democratic debate will be taking place tomorrow, and you can be able to watch that live on network television. Now, for more information, you can visit DNC's website at democrats.org. Taking a quick break. We'll be back with more Open right after this.